In this session, we're going to do another practice conditional probability problem so we can make sure that you've got this a little bit more worked with and you're better with it going into your homeworks and your exams. So in this case, we're going to do exercise number 26 on page 174 in your book. So the first part we've got for this problem is that a woman learns she will have twins, and we want to know what is the probability that she will have fraternal twins. So this is the question that we're solving. So the first step we need to identify what type of problem is this. So take a moment, read over this problem, and again, you should be working through these problems in your notes with me as I'm covering, not just watching the video. So write down in your notes, what type of problem do you think this is, and what's your reason for your assessment, and then when you have that, turn the video back on, pause the video while I do that, and then turn the video back on and move on to the next slide to check your answer. Okay, this is going to be a classical probability problem. Notice that we have a single event and we know all possible combinations of events. So this makes it a classical probability problem. Remember going back and looking at the difference between a classical probability problem and the relative frequency approximation. So keep in mind that this criteria is a piece of information that you should be adding to your probability decision flowchart that you're building for the exam. So remember, when you go into the exam, the information from all the different sections are going to be together, and many of the problems are going to tap into several different types of probability formulas. So you need to be able to identify which one you should be using. So as we get to the end of this section and we prep for the exam, as you see on the schedule, one of the days is going to be working on building a flowchart for the probability decision flowchart. So this is exactly the kind of information that should be going into your flowchart to help you decide which step to go through. So now we know we have a classical probability problem. What formula should we use to solve it? So again, pause the video here for a moment, go back and look at your notes, and then when you think you've identified the right formula, write it down, and then turn the video back on. Let's move to the next slide and check it together. Okay, you should be using our basic formula that we've been working with for quite a while now. So we have the number of ways A can occur over the number of different simple events. Remember, we have our total of events, and then we have the number of ways A can work. So here's our formula. And here's the ways we can mark it up for this. So when we're going through and getting our amounts, notice that we're looking, in this example, we're looking at the number of all different simple events. So we're simply going to add up all the ways that one could have twins. When we're looking at all the different possible ways that one could have twins, because that's the precluding thing. She knows she's going to have twins. Then we're going to also add up just the amount of times that a fraternal twins could occur. So there's our two pieces that we've marked up on our chart. So take a moment and think about where these two numbers are going to plug into the formula. Pause the video while you do that, and then again turn the video back on to move to the next slide and check your answer. Right, here's how they should be plugging in. So 20 is the number of ways that one can have fraternal twins, as we've summed that up across the side there, and 30 is the total number of different ways that one could have twins. So when we divide 20 by 30, we get 0.667. So this is the answer for this first part of the problem. So a woman learns that she's going to have twins, and the probability that she will have fraternal twins is 0.667. All right, now we're going to be looking at a different component of this problem. So now we're looking at when a woman learns that she's going to have twins. The sonogram indicates that she's going to have one boy and one girl. So now we have this component added to it. And what is the probability that she's going to have fraternal twins? So again, what type of problem do you think this is? Pause the video for a moment while you jot that down and make sure you're clear about why you think this is the particular solution approach we should be taking for the problem. This is conditional probability, since our knowledge of gender affects our estimates of twinship. Okay, so when we're looking at this, although I don't have the given then phrase that we've been looking for, notice that we still can read through this and understand that we're having a precluding piece of information, i.e. what the sonogram indicates, that we are then affecting our probability estimates. Okay, so now that we know that this is a conditional probability problem, how are we going to solve the problem? Well, we're going to use the intuitive conditional probability approach, which we've just practiced previously. So what I want you to do is stop the video here for a moment, copy this chart down into your notes, go through and identify the different pieces we're going to be using. So we're solving for the probability, as I've specified here, of having fraternal twins, given that the gender of the children is a boy and a girl. So pause the video, copy this chart down, and then mark it up exactly the way we've done in the other practice problems to identify the key pieces that you're going to need to use. And then once you have that, turn the video back on and move to the next page, and we'll check it together. Okay, so the precluding part is that the sonogram indicates that she will have one boy and one girl. So this is the conditional component integrated into this problem now. And so you can see I've identified that with both the bold blue font for in the word problem and in the probability formula that we have below. And then you've noticed I've marked up the chart. So I've pulled out only the two options where one of the child is a boy and one is a girl. The second part is then looking at fraternal twins. She's going to have fraternal twins. And I've noted this with the bold orange. So here we have, she will have fraternal twins, and that's in our word problem. I've identified that also in our probability notation here, and I've marked that part off. Notice when we're doing this, we are now using just this section where the two boxes overlap. So if we're plugging this into our conditional probability, we're going to have 10 divided by 10, which gives us a perfect probability of 1. So if you know that you're going to have a boy and a girl, and you know you have twins, then you know there's 100% certainty that you in fact are going to have fraternal twins. So this concludes this tutorial on going through this practice problem. The last video that we have for this section is looking at confusion of the inverse. So when you're finished with this, go on and watch that video as well, and that will conclude our videos for chapter 4.